Hey Narwhals, and welcome back to some more weight loss stories. Only a small percentage of our viewers actually subscribe. It's free and you can always change your mind later, so please tap subscribe to join the original 200k Narwhals. Hit my goal. It was a small goal, but so worth it. Here's a few tips for the 10 to 15 pound crew. This is small potatoes compared with some of what you amazing people have pulled off or in the process of doing. But after 3 months of Seco at the lowest possible restriction, I have hit my goal. I'm a 30-year-old woman and this is the leanest I've been in 7 years or so. 5'11", starting weight 159 and current weight 145 pounds. Frankly, I'm not sure how or when it happened. Once I got into the habit of using the Lose It app, it kind of melted into the background along with the pounds. Here's what I learned in the process, which may be useful to someone else who is at an average weight but would like to lose 10 to 15 pounds. Sometimes after a successful weight loss streak of 10 days or so, I got unreasonably hungry. If that happens to you too, rather than let that sabotage your weight loss, switch to maintenance and ride it out for a few days. If the scale starts to tip upwards significantly again, that is okay. Just try to get back on track. I find that riding it out in maintenance helps me tremendously with recalibrating whatever hormone makes me ravenously hungry, and I can resume my efforts after a few days. Just be mindful. 2. Some days will be in the red, and that is absolutely fine. My only advice would be to avoid binging above maintenance for more than one day. In my case, it stretches both my stomach and my appetite, and that makes it harder to get back in deficit mode. 3. People don't get calorie counting unless they have tried to lose weight with it themselves. Most of the reactions I got when asked about my secret, and I said that it's just math and a little app, were akin to an exorcism. Better not say anything. 4. Entering a rough guess or approximation of your meal is just fine, especially after a month of being strict or measuring most of your food and getting the hang of things. No need to get obsessive. I tend to err on the side of caution, so I always enter the slightly higher entry. I got a steamer for my lame meals, usually lunch, and it turned out not to be lame at all. Veggies come out lovely with a drizzle of lemon, tablespoon of oil, and an herb mix. If you want to eat more filling veggies and have not learned to fully incorporate them in your meals, just get a steamer and have them as a side to almost everything. 6. I am Mediterranean. The amount of olive oil we use can be obscene because we've always been told that it is healthy. It is healthy compared to other fats, sure, but keep an eye on it because your deficit may lie in those 3 tablespoons of olive oil that your dish could do without. 7. If you don't exercise regularly, the scale will always go up the day after a workout. It's just water. Finally, no matter how much or how little weight you are in the process of losing, it is important to keep in mind it is your choice. You are doing it for yourself. If you are completely miserable doing it, take a moment to feel out what it is that is making it so. It shouldn't feel like punishment, even if you love food, which, let's be honest, most of us do. There are gentle, slow ways of doing it, and there is practical and mental support available. You can do it. Congratulations, it's losing 10 to 15 pounds that's the hardest sometimes, particularly at the lower end of a BMI. That's a big achievement. This is a personal question, but just wondering what your waist measurement is at that weight. I don't mind sharing at all. It's 29 to 30 inches, depending on bloating and time of the month. I have a large bust and wide shoulders and back though, so it all looks right on me. Thanks for your kind words. It can indeed be hard to motivate yourself to lose only some vanity weight, not least because the margins for Seco are a lot smaller. But as we grow older, the weight creeps up if unchecked, and even a small victory is a victory. This is a really great list, and I concur with absolutely everything you said. I'm down to my last 20 to 25 pounds and finding it so difficult, but I know consistency will pay off, as it has for the bulk of my weight loss. I completely agree that eating at maintenance for a few days if you're feeling really hungry or just taking a day to be in the red is a great way to keep the weight loss sustainable and more manageable, as long as you can keep it in check. I saw your flare. What a journey you've had. It honestly feels silly for me to be giving you weight loss tips after what you have achieved. The only thing I can say is that the closer we get to the goal, the more it feels like our bodies resist. The results come more slowly, and the margin for error when trying to stay under budget is so much slower. But it does happen, down to the very last pound, as long as you keep at it and take care of yourself. Love this post. Thank you for writing it. May I ask, how long did it take you to reach your goal? I've lost 123 pounds. I'm on the fence about wanting to lose 20 more, but for now I'm switching to maintenance for a while. I need a diet break. I may try to incorporate some of your advice and just cut a teeny bit from my calories. Wow, that is amazing. You are an inspiration. It took me 3 months, including the small maintenance breaks. As long as I was not gaining weight, I was happy to chill and cut a little more or less every day, or most days. The time will pass anyway, and you don't need a deadline for the last 20 pounds. Great job. I'm 5'10" and hoping to lose 10-ish pounds to get back to where I was before 2020 happened. Your first point really made sense to me. I have the same thing happen. Was there anything else that helped you stay consistent? I find it so easy to go over my calorie limit. Oh, it is easy to go over. That's why I try to make it harder for my future self to indulge in the things that kept me at my previous weight for so long. A bag of crisps I really like. You are staying on the supermarket shelf, mister. If I have a meal plan that I know I will want to overindulge in, I will make a big but low-calorie side, like a crispy salad with a dash of balsamic and no oil, and I will try to take a small portion of the tasty fatty dish and a large portion of the low-calorie one, and then I will eat them at the same time. And by the time I finish my first serving, I am full and sober enough to stop there or only go for a tiny second serving. It helps to think ahead about what you're going to eat and when. If you're going out for dinner, better skip that breakfast and have a light lunch, like a lettuce, tuna salad, etc. It also helped me to have one or two go-to breakfasts I enjoy that land under 300 calorie. Some people have success skipping breakfast altogether, but if I do that regularly, I tend to overeat for lunch. Last but not least, get a streak going on your app of choice and keep it going. It is such a silly little thing, but it helps on off days. Then if you go over your budget, you can have a look at your weekly average and decide if all looks good anyway, or if something needs adjusting. Weighed out a portion of chips and didn't eat the whole bag. The chips were my downfall. I was always overweight, but after high school, I moved out from my parents' house with zero idea of what nutrition was, and into an extremely stressful period of my life. It was also across the street from a corner store. The perfect storm. On average, I'd go through a bag and a half of family-sized chips every day, on top of whatever terrible takeaway dinner I had, and Starbucks in the morning. Looking back on it, that is far too much. Seeing people pull out a bag of chips, eat some, and then put it back into the pantry for later was always insane to me. I almost found it funny. Why would you only eat some if you could eat them all? It quickly turned into a comfort. The crunchiness and familiar flavors calmed me down in the hectic life I'd grown into, and I kept going on like that for a while. A few years later, I'm almost 100 pounds less and a whole new person, but still, I've never sat down with a bag of chips without finishing it. Obviously, it happens far less often, maybe every 2 months when I get super lazy. Last night, I had some calories left over in my budget. My boyfriend popped open a bag of chips, and I sat down beside him. I was nervous because I honestly don't trust myself around chips. So I grabbed a bowl, grabbed my scale, and poured out 50 grams of chips, way more than I thought I would get. But putting it in a bowl makes it look so much bigger, and I found myself enjoying the chips more when I only had a few of them versus when blindly shoving my hand in a bag. I felt super accomplished. I feel super accomplished. I had my favorite snack and didn't go off track for the day, and it completely quenched my craving, and I now feel more confident around a food I usually overindulge in. I hope everyone has a good day and doesn't eat a bazillion calories worth of chips. I am not a failure. 24 female, 5 feet tall, starting weight 200 pounds, current weight 181, and goal weight 115. I started my weight loss journey back in April of 2020 after babysitting for a friend and using her scale to weigh myself because it had been years since I had done so. I had weighed in at 200.8, 25 pounds heavier than the last time I remembered weighing myself. I always told myself I would never get to 200 pounds, but here I was, 0.8 over 200. Immediately, I started trying to lose weight, but I knew from my high school experiences that fad diets just didn't work for me. I had to change my entire lifestyle as a whole in order for my weight loss to be successful. And due to the pandemic, I was not working, and this actually acted as a blessing for me. I went for walks every day. I was cooking all my meals at home. My biggest issue was my diet. I had years and years of stuffing myself with fast food and processed junk, and I really wanted to put most of the focus on my eating habits and creating sustainable meals for myself to prevent overeating. I struggle with food quite a lot, so rather than force myself to completely change my diet to keep up with regular exercise, I did more leisurely activities, like going for walks and bike rides, so I didn't have too much pressure on myself. Slowly, I would see a pound lost, and another, and another. It was a slow process, but I didn't care. I was making successful changes, and I was so proud. By the end of the year, I was at 181.4. And now, minus 19.4 pounds in 8 months may not seem like a huge deal. I definitely could have lost more, but this was the longest I've ever stuck to a diet in my entire life. I had not gained the weight back. I had maintained the loss, and that was incredible to me. I, like many others, suffer from seasonal affective disorder. October to March can be rough for me. Particularly this year has been bad. But guess what? I have still maintained my weight loss while only fluctuating by about 5 pounds, depending on the time of the month. And I am still so amazed at myself that almost a year later, I have still maintained that 19.4 pound loss. That, along with learning to love who I am through this last year, has been my biggest accomplishment in my entire life. While I still have a ways to go, this is a reminder to myself and anybody else out there who is struggling with their weight and feeling like they could have lost more from when they started to now. What you have done for yourself is amazing, and you deserve to be proud of the changes you have made in your life, regardless of if you could have lost more. Maintaining my weight during the toughest time of the year for my mental health has been the biggest win to date in my journey. While I was so close to giving up because I felt like I could have done more, I am reminding myself that what I have done is create a successful mentality towards myself and towards food. I am not a failure, and this is not the end of my journey. It may take years, but that will no longer deter me from wanting to keep going, and I hope it doesn't deter you either. And that brings us to the end, Narwhals. Please tap subscribe to join the original 200k Narwhals. And lastly, here's our featured Narwhal of the Day. I'm now 202 pounds and need to take new pics soon, but this is my progress from 255 to 211. It's crazy because I never actually thought I looked that big. I always thought I was smaller, until one day I saw my old cosplay pic and was shocked.